राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपीजना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jai Gaura Nitai, Jai Gaura Nitai. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Labhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सतः श्री श्रीमद् इष्टपायन ग्रेश्ल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जाय। नवदीप श्री मायपुर धाम की जाय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जाय। गंगा माँ यमुना माई की जाय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जाय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय। श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जाय। द मोस्ट मर्सिफुल लॉर्डशिप श्री श्री गौनिथाय की जाय। द मोस्ट मर्सिफुल लॉर्डशिप श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन जी की जाय। द मोस्ट मर्सिफुल लॉर्डशिप श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जाय। सामवेत गौर भक्तबिंद की जाय। थाई गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada की जाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवता सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, entitled Instructions by Maharaj Prithu, text number 34. असाविहानेक गुणोद्वरः असाविहानेक गुणोद्वरः पृथक् विदद्रव्यगुणक्रियोक्तिभिः पृथक् विदद्रव्यगुणक्रियोत्कितिभिः संपद्यते अर्थास्य लिंगनामभिः संपद्यते अर्थाशयलिंगनामभिः विशुद्ध विज्ञान घन स्वरूपतः विशुद्ध विज्ञान घन स्वरूपतः असाविहानेक गुणोद्वरः पृथक् विदद्रव्यगुणक्रियोत्कितिभिः संपद्यते अर्थाशयलिंगनामभिः विशुद्ध विज्ञान घन स्वरूपतः असाविहानेक गुणोद्वरः पृथक् विदद्रव्यगुणक्रियोत्कितिभिः संपद्यते अर्थाशयलिंगनामभिः विशुद्ध विज्ञान घन स्वरूपतः अशाविहानेक गुणो गुणोद्भरः पृथक् विधद्रव्य गुण क्रियोत्कितिभिः सम्पद्यतेऽर्थाशयलिङ्गनामभिः विशुद्ध विज्ञान घन स्वरूपतः असाविहानेक गुणो गुणोद्भरः पृथक् विधद्रव्य गुण क्रियोत्किभिः सम्पद्यतेऽर्थाशयलिङ्गनामभिः विशुद्ध विज्ञान घन स्वरूपतः। श्री श्री गौनिताय की जय, श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। अशाविहानेक गुणो गुणोद्भरः पृथक् विधद्रव्य गुण क्रियोत्कितिभिः सम्पद्यतेऽर्थाशयलिङ्गनामभिः विशुद्ध विज्ञान घन स्वरूपतः। Any Matajis? Asau, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Iha, in this material world, Aneka, various gunaha, qualities, agunaha, transcendental, adhvaraha, yajna, prutak vidha, varieties, dravya, physical elements, guna, ingredients, kriya, performances, uktibihi, by chanting different mantras. Sampadyate is worshipped. Artha, interest. Ashaya, purpose. Linga, form. Namabhihi, name. Vishuddha, without contamination. Vijnana, science. Ghanaha, concentrated. Swarupataha, in his own form. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental and not contaminated by this material world. But although He is concentrated spirit soul without material variety, for the benefit of the conditioned soul, He nevertheless accepts different types of sacrifice performed with various material elements, rituals and mantras, and offered to the demigods under different names according to the interests and purpose of the performers. Please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental and not contaminated by this material world. But although He is concentrated spirit soul without material variety, for the benefit of the conditioned soul, He nevertheless accepts different types of sacrifice performed with various material elements, rituals and mantras, and offered to the demigods under different names according to the interests and purposes of the performers. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It's a little long purport. Nice. For material prosperity, there are recommendations in the Vedas for various types of yajna, sacrifice. In the Bhagavad Gita 3.10, it is confirmed that Lord Brahma created all living entities, including human beings and demigods, and advised them to perform yajna according to their material desires. Sahayajna prajas srishtva. These performances are called yajnas because their ultimate goal is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. The purpose of performing yajnas is to get material benefit, but because the aim is to simultaneously satisfy the Supreme Lord, such yajnas have been recommended in the Vedas. Such performances are of course known as karmakanda or material activities. And all material activities are certainly contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Generally, the karmakanda ritualistic ceremonies are performed in the mode of passion, yet the conditioned souls, both human beings and demigods, are obliged to perform these yajnas because without them one cannot be happy at all. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura comments that these karmakanda ritualistic ceremonies, although contaminated, contain touches of devotional service because whenever there is a performance of any yajna, Lord Vishnu is given a central position. This is very important because even a little endeavor to please Lord Vishnu is bhakti and is of great value. A tinge of bhakti purifies the material nature of the performances, which by devotional service gradually come to the transcendental position. Therefore, although such yajnas are superficially material activities, the results are transcendental. Such yajnas as Surya Yajna, Indra Yajna and Chandra Yajna are performed in the names of the demigods, but these demigods are bodily parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demigods cannot accept sacrificial offerings for themselves, but they can accept them for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just as a departmental tax collector of a government cannot collect taxes for his personal account, but can realize them for the government. Any yajna performed with this complete knowledge and understanding is described in Bhagavad Gita as Brahmarpanam, or a sacrifice offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since no one but the Supreme Lord can enjoy the results of sacrifice, the Lord says that He is the actual enjoyer of all sacrifices. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Sacrifices should be performed with this view in mind. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.24, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. The performer of sacrifices must always keep in view that the sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas are meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnur aradhyate pantha. Anything material or spiritual done for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord is understood to be an actual yajna. And by performing such yajnas, one gets liberation from material bondage. The direct method of getting liberation from material bondage is devotional service, comprising the 9 following methods. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. The 9-fold process is described in this verse as Vishuddha Vijnana Ghanaha, or satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly by transcendental knowledge concentrated on the form of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. This is the best method for satisfying the Supreme Lord. One who cannot take to this direct process, however, should take the indirect process of performing yajnas for the satisfaction of Vishnu or yajna. Vishnu is therefore called Yajnapati, Shriyapatim, Yajnapatim, Jagatpatim. The Supreme Personality of God's deep scientific knowledge is concentrated to the supreme point. For example, medical science knows something superficially, but doctors do not know exactly how things happen in the body. Lord Krishna, however, knows everything in detail. Therefore, his knowledge is a Vijnana Ghana because it does not have any of the defects of material science. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Vishuddha Vijnana Ghana, concentrated transcendental knowledge. Therefore, even though he accepts karmakandya materialistic yajnas, he always remains in a transcendental position. Therefore, the mention of Aneka Guna refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead's many transcendental qualities, for he is not affected by the material qualities. The different kinds of material paraphernalia or physical elements are also gradually transformed into spiritual understanding, because ultimately there is no difference between material and spiritual qualities, for everything emanates from the Supreme Spirit. This is realized by a gradual process of realization and purification. One vivid example of this is Dhruva Maharaj, who took to meditation in the forest to achieve material benefit, but ultimately became spiritually advanced and did not want any benediction for material profit. He was simply satisfied with the association of the Supreme Lord. Ashaya means determination. Generally, a conditioned soul has the determination for material profit, but when these desires for material profit are satisfied through performance of yajna, one gradually achieves the spiritual platform. Then his life becomes perfect. Srimad Bhagavatam therefore recommends Akamas sarva kamo va moksha kamo udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Everyone, whether akama, a devotee, sarvakama, a karmi, or mokshakama, a jnani or yogi, is encouraged to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the direct method of devotional service. In this way, one can get both material and spiritual profits simultaneously. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindubhyevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langaite girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. So we heard one time Srila Prabhupada was writing purports to these Bhagavatam verses. So one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, how long will it take for you to write the translations and purports to these Srimad Bhagavatam verses? And Prabhupada's answer was, I can do it quickly. but it is taking time for me because to write these purports in a manner that all of you can relate, it is taking time. So similarly, if we have heard the purport, very elaborate purport Prabhupada had given us, and the subject matter is very complex, very philosophical. Nevertheless, Srila Prabhupada explained it in such a beautiful way that ordinary people like us who do not have any background of Vedic knowledge can understand what Srila Prabhupada is talking about. This basically, the verse is saying, in this verse, even though yajnas are performed, which are, when we perform yajnas in this world, all we get is material elements is what we get. So when you get material elements, you offer these material elements to the Supreme Lord. Then will he be contaminated by these material elements? Is number one question. Question number two is whether a Supreme Personality of Godhead will accept such material things, because they are material. He is completely spiritual in nature. So when he is completely spiritual in nature, how will he accept material things? Is the question. These are the two questions. And Srila Prabhupada answered both questions in this purport. The first point is that Lord does not get contaminated by the material things that are offered to him. Because for him, there is nothing material. Everything is spiritual. It is said, Sarvo Akhilam Idam Brahmam. Sarvo Akhilam Idam Brahmam. Because everything has emanated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all spiritual. So everything is emanated from is also spiritual. So then where is the material outlook? The material outlook is not from the Supreme Lord, it is from the conditioned soul's point of view. The conditioned souls, they want to enjoy something which is the product of the Supreme Lord. That vision is called material vision. So where is matter? Matter is in the drishti, not in the srishti. So there is no srishti lopa, there is only drishti lopa. So we have a problem because, it is created for some purpose, but we have a problem we wanted to enjoy. So that is where materialism is coming into picture. So, but then we are materialistic. We are actually suffering in this world. We have come here to satisfy our desires. So, what do? We have to use these material elements and offer them to Krishna so that Krishna may be satisfied. So when Krishna is satisfied, then what happens? Anything that is material becomes spiritual. So the transforming potency is in Krishna. We may offer material things, but because Krishna has accepted, it becomes spiritual. That is very, very, very wonderful. Srila Prabhupada gives an example. The example is, if someone is eating so many sweets, milk sweets especially, then it will cause upset of the stomach, and it causes dysentery. Dysentery means you have to go to the toilet many times because you have eaten so many milk sweets. So now it's a disease. How to cure the disease? To cure the disease, the same milk preparation is given in a different way, in the form of curd or yogurt or buttermilk. So if you drink buttermilk, what happens? the disease which is caused by a milk preparation is cured by another milk preparation, that is in the hand of an expert physician. A physician may use the same milk preparation and process it and give it to you so that your disease is cured. So, is it in the ingredient or is it in the physician's hand? It is in the physician's hand. Physician is expert enough to give that to you. Similarly, although whatever we are offering is material, because Lord is accepting with grace, so it becomes spiritual. So what is working is Lord's mercy is working. Not what you are offering is not working, Lord's mercy is working. Lord's acceptance is what is working. So, one should never think that I am very great, I have arranged such a big yajna and I have done so many sacrifices and all these things. What is the use of all of this when Lord Krishna does not accept it, Lord Vishnu does not accept it? Now, Lord is so merciful that even though you don't offer directly to Krishna, directly to Vishnu, even if you offer to demigods also, He still accepts through them. Why does He accept through them? To give us benefit. He accepts through them. So, Surya Yajna, Indra Yajna, Chandra Yajna, like this there are different kinds of yajnas are mentioned in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. So much elaborate rituals have to be performed in these yajnas. But in all these yajnas, the predominating personality is Krishna or Vishnu. So, although you may offer to these personalities, such as Indra, Yajna, Surya, Indra, Chandra, Surya, the main person who is accepting is actually Krishna through these persons. Why? Because they are like His bodily parts. Like it is said, when you feed a Brahmana, you are not actually feeding a Brahmana. You are actually through Brahmana. Brahmana should be so pure that when he accepts something from others, he should accept it on behalf of Krishna. So when we do Brahman Bhojan, we say Brahman Bhojan. Brahman Bhojan means that Brahman Bhojan is considered as tongue of Vishnu. You offer Bhojan to a Brahman, Vishnu accepts through the Brahmana. Because Vishnu is actually Go Brahmana Devaya. Because he is very, very dear. He considers Brahmanas very dear. So through Brahmanas he accepts food. So similarly, through the demigods he accepts varieties of offerings. Because they are all his bodily parts. So we must understand the difference here. The difference is there is directly offering to Vishnu and there is indirectly offering to Vishnu. Directly offering to Vishnu means not through Brahmanas or not through the demigods. That is not called direct offering to Vishnu. That is indirect offering to Vishnu. Direct offering to Vishnu means through Vaishnavas and through Acharyas. That is direct offering to Vishnu, which entails devotional service, which is considered as devotional service. And this is Karma Kanda sacrifice. So what Srila Prabhupada is saying, even though you may do Karma Kanda sacrifice, because the ultimate beneficiary is Lord Vishnu, you get the benefit. You get a transcendental benefit. You use material elements, but you get transcendental benefit because of Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu is recommending this process for people who do not know the direct process. He is also telling about the direct process in Bhagavad Gita. He is saying, Yanti deva vrata devan pitruni yanti pitruvratan bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti yadyajinopi mam. If you want to worship bhutas, pretas, demigods, you want to worship your forefathers, you can go there. But if you worship me, you will come to me. Krishna is saying. He is giving option to us. It's up to you. There is a direct process, there is an indirect process. He is saying, Kamaistaistair Hrudajnana E Prapadyanti Anya Devata. Anya Devata means to other demigods, if people wanted to offer things, surrender, that is Avidhi Purvakam. Krishna is saying it is not Vidhi Purvakam. Avidhi Purvakam means indirect method. So we have been presented with two methods. Direct method, indirect method. Direct method is for those who know that Krishna is the ultimate bhokta. Those who have the transcendental knowledge. They are fortunate enough to receive the transcendental knowledge from acharyas. They know Krishna is bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhrudam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shanti mruchyati. For such people, they will not take the indirect process. They will take direct process only. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yadjuhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunte tat kurusva madarpanam. They will take the direct process. Why should we take indirect process when we know the direct process? Prabhupada is giving an example, very important example for us to understand clearly. He is saying, just like different governmental tax collectors are there, they collect tax on behalf of the government. They don't keep the tax for themselves. They have to pay the tax back to the government. For the functioning of their department, they may use some part of the tax for the functioning of the department, but the remaining money has to be given to the government. Similarly, the demigods are also like that. The demigods, for their maintenance, they may take a little portion of it, whatever sacrifices that we offer. Whatever we are offering, it is actually, whether you know or don't know, it is actually being offered to Vishnu. So these tax collectors, what do? Like demigods, they take a little bit of it and they give it to the ultimate beneficiary, that is Krishna. So that is the demigod. But a pure devotee is not like that. Pure devotees, they do not keep anything for themselves. They give everything to Krishna, 100% they give. They are completely transparent. So that is why this process to offer Krishna everything through the pure devotee is called direct process. And offering things to Krishna through demigods is called indirect process. So, direct process is called devotional service. Indirect process is called performance of yajna. So, whether you go directly or indirectly, you are anyway going to Vishnu only. So, depending on one's knowledge, one's realization, one's consciousness, one accepts either direct process or indirect process. So generally materialistic people, they do various ritualistic processes, performances, different yajnas they perform. They want to satisfy many demigods so that they can get some material profit. But Lord Krishna condemned this in Vrindavan to Nanda Maharaj. He said that whether you do Indra yajna or not, he is not independent. Na? Indra is not giving rain because he has full control over rain. Unless the Lord accepts that process, Lord gives the rain, Indra cannot give rain. So don't worship Indra, you worship Govardhan, he said. In other words, he is asking Vasudev, he is asking Nanda Maharaj and all the inhabitants of Vrindavan to worship Krishna, worship actually the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So he also said, Lord Krishna told Nanda Maharaj, just like rain, when it rains, rain doesn't fall only in fertile lands. Rain also falls on mountains. Rain also falls on so many other places. The rain does not discriminate in rainfall. Similarly, these demigods don't think that unless you offer worship, only then they will give you. It is their duty to give these things. They are duty bound by the Lord to supply these things. So, they cannot have special vengeance to you when you are worshipping the Lord. They may not give if you don't worship anyone. They may not give. Yes. But if you are directly worshipping the Supreme Lord, you don't have to worry that the demigods may become angry and then they may become vengeful. If they become vengeful, then the Lord will take care of them. And the whole Govardhan Parvat pastime is this only. To establish that even if the demigod becomes vengeful and try to disturb you because you have not worshipped him, Krishna will take care. So by this process, Krishna has declared to the whole world that you don't have to take up the indirect process out of fear of demigods. You have to take up the direct process of devotional service. So it's a very beautiful understanding that Acharyas are opening up and giving to us. Another philosophical point that is mentioned here is that because everything is offered to Krishna or Vishnu, he is called Yajnapati. It is said, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivatena gantavya, Brahma karma samadhibihi. Because the ultimate beneficiary is Vishnu, everything becomes Brahman. The Hutam, the performer, the Yajnaman, everything becomes Brahman. Because the final beneficiary is Krishna or Vishnu. So this is there in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 24th sloka. And the Mayavadis like this verse very much. Because that is what we are saying, everything is one, everything is one, everything is one. It is not everything is one. The purpose of everything is one. Ekatvam anupashyataha. The purpose of everything is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. So whether you approach through direct method or indirect method, it finally reaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it is better to approach Krishna through direct method. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhaha. You may acquire so much of knowledge, but finally you have to come to an understanding that Krishna is everything. Offering Krishna directly is the best thing. Then offering through various channels, indirect channels. So, there are two classes of people in this world. One are called theists, another are called atheists. Atheists don't accept the existence of the Lord. They are called atheists. They don't think that this creation has come about because there is a creator behind it. They don't accept. Like materialistic scientists, they don't think that this creation has come just like that by chance. They don't accept that there is a creator behind it. So that is why they come under the category of atheists. Theist means they accept the supernatural power behind the creation. They are called theists. But even in theists, there are two classes. One class is those who accept the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan feature. There is another class called impersonalists or Mayavadis. Another class is called Mayavadis. They don't accept the personal feature of the Lord. They think that everything is one, just like in this verse, they quote this verse, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagnav, Brahmanahutaha. Everything is one, everything is Brahman. The different material varieties that we see in this world, they are only our own imaginations. So they don't exist ultimately. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya is what they say. So these are another kind of theists. But although they may be called theists because they accept Vedic knowledge, because they deny the personality of Godhead, they should be technically called atheists only. I had someone ask Prabhupada, who is better? The Mayavadis are better or atheists are better? Prabhupada's answer was, which stool is better, dry stool or wet stool? This was Prabhupada's answer. So whether the stool is in the form of wet stool or dry stool, it is stool only. So So Mayavadis are another transformed atheists only, because they don't accept the personality of Godhead. Although they may accept Vedas, but they don't accept the way Vedanta Krut Vedavit Eva Chaham Krishna. They don't accept Krishna. So that they are called atheists only in one sense. So, and these atheists, these so-called atheists or so-called theists, they ask you to do these different rituals. Like for example, the Mayavadis, they propose Panchopasana. Pancha means 5 kinds of demigods you can worship. Ultimately, there is no need of worship, everything is mithya. But because you are very much attached to this worship of someone, you worship 5 kinds of people. Who are they? Surya, Durga, Shiva, Ganesha, and Lord Vishnu. These are the 5 kinds of Panchopasana they recommend, with rituals and all that. Finally, they say you have to come to a point where you give up all these rituals, give up all this worship, because everything is mithya, there is only one Satya, that is Brahman. And then they quote this verse, Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmana Hudha. But actual meaning of this verse is that, Prabhupada is saying, he is Vijnana Ghanaha. Lord is Vijnana Ghanaha, Parama Vijnana Ghanaha, Vishuddha Vijnana Ghanaha. Lord is Vishuddha Vijnana Ghanaha. He is concentrated transcendental knowledge personified. Lord is. He knows everything. So, because he is like that, nothing can contaminate him. Whatever you do, he accepts it and he doesn't get contaminated by it, and he gives us transcendental result. What a beautiful procedure that Lord has given for all of us. So that is why, when you know this, why should we go through the indirect method? Go to the direct method. If I go to direct method, that means if I go to Lord Krishna, can I have material desires? Yes, you can have material desires, don't worry. Dhruva is an example. He had material desires, he approached the Supreme Lord, and when he approached the Supreme Lord, what happened? After he received the mercy of the Supreme Lord, the material contamination is gone from his heart. He became completely purified. So, Bhagavatam says, Akama sarvakamova mokshakama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena ejeta purushaparam. Whether you have material desires, whether you have spiritual desires, whether you have desires to serve the Supreme Lord, whether you have desire for moksha, whatever you have, you directly approach Krishna, don't have to go to other demigods. Then you will reach perfection. So even if you have material contamination, that will be removed by Krishna. Don't worry. So that is what is mentioned here. Ultimately, less intelligent people only will go and find different means and worship different people. The intelligent person means they worship Krishna. And especially in the Kali Yuga, the intelligent people worship Krishna through the performance of the Sankirtana Yajna. Yajantihi Sumedasaha Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedasaha. The intelligent people in Kali Yuga, they worship Lord Krishna in the form of Sankirtana Yajna, which is the best of all yajnas. So these are the points that Srila Prabhupada has very beautifully described in this purport for our benefit, for our easy understanding. There is no need to speculate, or there is no need to, imagine something. Everything is crystal clear by Prabhupada's purports. So these are some of the points for today. Anyone has any question, comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that the conditioned soul has tendency to do things for material profit. So, in the indirect process. So, when we perform through direct process, the same tendency may creep in this also. So, how can we identify such tendency in us and remove them?
No, when we are in this material world, we have material tendencies. We cannot say that, we are specially born by the arrangement of the Lord. We are not messengers of God. We came from the gutter of material world only. So, it is safe to presume that I am not someone special. I am coming from the gutter. So that means what? I have material tendencies. The point is, when you have material tendencies, we have an enjoyment spirit. We want certain benefits. So, the Bhagavatam suggests, instead of performing indirect method, you perform direct method. If you perform direct method, the double advantage is, your desires will be satisfied and your desire to enjoy will be removed if you go to Krishna. But if you go through the indirect method, your desires may be satisfied, but your desire for enjoyment will not be removed. So which is better? Direct method is better. Double benefit. But people do not take up the direct method because they don't want their material desires to be wiped away. Because they want to maintain the material desires so that they can enjoy perpetually. They think that they can enjoy. But along with enjoyment, what comes? Suffering also comes. Buy one, get one free. You want to enjoy in this material world, what comes as a concomitant factor is suffering. So they don't mind going through this, then you go through this, then you can go through the indirect method. Because that will not be removed. But those who are intelligent, they want this to be removed. Only because of my material desires I am suffering in this world, and only person who can remove my material desires is Krishna, so let me go through Krishna. Whatever it is, I will submit to Krishna. I have so many desires, my dear Lord, kindly you satisfy them or remove them. It is up to you. So this is called a direct method. Yes? Anybody else? You have a question? Come front. हिंदी हाँ माइक में बोलिए माइक में बोलिए
अभी मटेरियल वर्ल्ड बोल के बोले ना मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में कुछ भी नहीं है मगर अपना कुछ आचार नहीं है ना जैसे कि शादी करना गृह प्रवेश करना उस टाइम पे तो ब्राह्मण जैसे बोले वैसा करना ही पड़ता ना तो वैश्यास का कैसा करना है उस टाइम पे
हाँ
वैश्यास बोले ना डायरेक्ट के लिए बोले तो आचार्य वैश्यास
वैश्यास नहीं वैष्णवास वैश्यास अलग है वैष्णवास अलग है
ओके उस टाइम पे कैसे करना है
ब्राह्मण वो ब्राह्मण दो तरह के ब्राह्मण होते हैं एक तरह के ब्राह्मण वो उसको बोलते हैं कि वो नियम पालन करने वाले ब्राह्मण हैं दूसरे तरह के ब्राह्मण वैष्णव ब्राह्मण होते हैं वैष्णव ब्राह्मण ये होते हैं वो भगवान विष्णु को सब कुछ अर्पित करते हैं तो ब्राह्मण में भी दो तरह के ब्राह्मण होते हैं निष्ठाचार ब्राह्मण बहुत सारे रहते हैं वो बस रिचुअल्स में ही प्राधान्यता देते हैं लेकिन दूसरी ब्राह्मण लोग हैं वो भगवान विष्णु को मानते हैं
अगर आचार्य घर पे बुला के कुछ ऐसा भोजन करना ऐसा कुछ कार्य कर सकते
हाँ
कर सकते
वैष्णवों को घर में बुलाना है संकीर्तन करवाना है उनसे उससे बहुत शुद्ध होगा हमारा आत्मा का शुद्ध होता है, फैमिली मेंबर्स को शुद्धि होता है, घर को शुद्धि होता है, तो संकीर्तन यज्ञ करवाना है भक्तों को बुला के, वही अच्छा चीज़ है। ठीक है? Alright, anything else? Thank you all very much. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाए, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाए, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए।